Thank you all for taking the time tonight to come out and listen to us. We have some great presenters tonight. You're going to hear from all of our department chairs, also our athletic director. The goal of tonight, we are going to go over our upper school experience and curriculum. What is it? What will it look like for the freshman class for next year, and what will it look like beyond freshman year? I do want to say that I firmly believe, I said this last year at the 8th grade parent night, I believe that each and every year we have the most well-prepared ninth graders in the state, because they have gone through a rigorous lower school or middle school set of classes that has them prepared for high school. And I really do believe that what separates AMSA is we really do go above and beyond. And we are very mission driven here at the school. And just to remind everybody, our mission is all about taking care of all of our students, all backgrounds, all abilities, educating our students to the fullest extent so that they excel in all subjects, so that when they graduate from here, they're ready to take on, as it states in our mission, they're prepared to succeed in the modern high tech world, is how we word it. So we really do believe that all the students that walk through our doors, yes, we come from over 30 different towns. We all start at different places. We all have these perceived potentials in our minds, as you know. I think students have that, parents have that, and our goal is to, by the time student goes through our program and they graduate, that they exceed their perceived potential, that they actually go above and beyond. I truly believe that our staff, we constantly talk about our mission, and we really do focus on helping our students exceed and truly excel in all their subjects across the board. So we're going to hear more about how we do that tonight. And of course, I do want to mention our core values, which are about 2 or 3 years old. We established them recently, and of integrity, excellence, and community. Our staff, we have discussions at the staff level about these core values quite often, and we always bring these values up to our students in conversation, at grade level meetings, at class meetings with our students, and it's something that we firmly stand on, our 3 core values, and we preach those, and we live by those. We practice those. So we're always working on getting better each and every day, working together collaboratively as a community so that we can all succeed together. So I just wanted to preface everything tonight by sort of mentioning those. So just a quick little outline for the evening. I'll briefly go over the graduation requirements and some of the leveling, how we have college prep leveling, honors, and advanced placement classes that are offered in high school. You'll hear from our department chairs. They'll each discuss their particular academic department. You'll hear from our athletic director. And then Kate Driver, Miss Kate Driver, the head of our counseling department, will go through course selection and college planning as well. We shared this quote last year. I think if everybody just takes a moment to just take a look at it. This is a quote from one of our AMSA graduates, as it says there at the bottom. I think it's a nice statement right there that sort of sums up part of what we really are all about. So the graduation requirements, students enter into ninth grade. This is what they'll be looking at. This is outlined in our handbook. This is outlined in our program of studies, which is all available on our school website. You could, of course, go on our school website, look under student life, and under the student life tab and the academics tab, and you would find all this information on there as well. So all students will take 4 years of math, which equates out to 6 total credits. They'll have to pass 4 years of English, and then we get into science and history are at 3 years, 1.5 credits of computer science. Now, computer science classes are, unless it's an AP class, they are half credit courses. So you take 3 computer science courses at a minimum as a high school student, which again are half credit courses. World language, we have 2-year requirement for world languages. Phys ed and health are split with a senior seminar class, the student's senior year. But phys ed slash health, those are mandatory classes that students have to pass each and every year throughout high school. And then we have 1 year of fine arts, 1 credit of fine arts requirement, which equals out to two fine arts classes. Total credits that are required are 28, and students are. It's outlined in our handbook that students are to take a minimum of 7 credits per year starting their freshman year. The maximum that students could actually schedule would be 8 credits per year, but 7 is the minimum. And we also, for graduation, there is a successful completion of the MCAS in biology. Our students take the biology MCAS in grade 9, and then math and English, those MCAS the exams take place in their 10th grade year. These are the levels, our course levels, which you may have heard about. We have college prep. You can see the definitions right here. I'm not going to read them all out loud to you here. You can take a look for yourself, of course. So we have college prep, honors, and advanced placement courses. We actually do have some courses at the high school level that go beyond AP, as we say. I believe the terminology we use is accelerated courses. For example, we have discrete mathematics, cybersecurity course. I know that there's 3 or 4 others that are slipping out of my mind right now because I'm just going off the top of my head. But there are also other accelerated courses as well, in addition to the AP. Your honors level courses, you should expect a higher effort is certainly, a greater effort is certainly required there. More independent work for sure. But I would say that all of our classes, whether it's CP all the way to accelerated, students will be challenged. That is for sure. And now we are on to mathematics with Miss Luba Schmidt. So Miss Schmidt, if you want to jump in, and I will turn my camera off.
Hi everybody, my name is Luba Schmidt and I'm the head of math department at AMSA.
Oops, I'm sorry.
It's okay. And you can see our high school, upper school math courses in front of you. So as you can see, we have different sequence of courses for different levels. And majority of our students begin with Algebra 2 in grade 9, but we have some sequence of courses beginning with Algebra 1 for those who need some reinforcement of skills of Algebra 1. And we are progressing Algebra 1, Algebra 2. For some of our students need to have 2 years of Algebra 2. So for some of them, we're dividing Algebra 2 into 2 courses. You see Algebra 2 and Algebra 3 here. And then pre-calculus and calculus and other high-level courses. So I want you to look at these sequences and understand that even if our students enter these sequences in one of these places, they are moving diagonally along these courses. Some students want to have more challenging courses. They are moving up, let's say up, into more challenging sequence of courses, and some students vice versa want to have a little bit more relaxing experience, and they can do it as well. So do not think that in a minute you are somewhere in this table, you will move only vertically down. No, you can move, students move diagonally all the time. Majority of our students taking calculus, if you can see, we offer calculus in many levels. We have honors calculus, we have AP Calculus, for those who are completing AP Calculus, and for some students actually who are completing honors calculus, they can move to multivariable calculus that we offer in 12th grade. And we take some pride in offering calculus on so many levels. And we have actually intro to calculus, as you can see in middle part of the table. This is just introduction to calculus, and we are, like I said, we are very proud of giving our students this option to study calculus on so many different levels. We study geometry in parallel to algebra. For some levels, it is just 1 year of geometry in 9th grade, and for some of them, they will actually continue to study geometry because we begin to study geometry in grade 7 and 8. So this is just continuation of our study, and some of students need 2 more years, and geometry is half credit course. It is every other day. Because we have geometry in parallel to algebra, we actually we can offer some after AP courses to our students, like multivariable, AP statistics, linear algebra, and we introducing new course hopefully next year, math for business and economics. And you can see that for those who do not take high level courses like honors calculus and AP calculus, they can choose between, like I said, more relaxed courses, regular statistics, not necessarily AP statistics. We offer regular statistics course. I already said that we're offering math for business and economics, and actually accounting and business fundamentals, very popular course, to our students. So this is math courses in a glance. I don't know how are we answering questions. Can you remind me what we
Yeah,
should do?
Miss Schmidt, sorry, I was going to jump in after you were done to explain that because I definitely forgot. To those
Should
viewers
I
out
look at the
there,
questions?
yeah, we have a Q&A function that all the audience members should be able to see. Please feel free to
I
type
don't
in
think
the
I
question.
have any specific questions about math courses. At least I
Okay.
don't see them. Miss Driver, do you see any questions?
Yeah, I answered one question about whether or not if you're taking algebra and
We don't
trig,
hear you.
9th grade algebra and trig as an 8th grader, if it counts toward a high school requirement. The answer is it does not.
Okay, so
And then there was a follow-up question of what would the senior year look like for that student?
I don't see any questions. So Mr. Naroke, if I believe I am done.
Okay. Yeah. And so, audience members out there, please feel free if you have a math question that pops into your mind or any question that pops in your mind at any point, you can use the Q&A section that you see on your screen, and we'll do our best to answer it through just typing back to you. But at the end, we can also open it up generally to the chat. And we're going to be ending right around 7 o'clock tonight. But if we have some time at the end, we can answer any questions. And if we do not get to your question by the end of the night, you please feel free to email the specific department chair or administrator. If you wish, you can email them after the event here tonight. So next up, I believe, is Miss Richardson. Yes, it is. Miss Richardson, take it away.
Okay.
Yes,
Hi, everyone.
Can change.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. My name is Marty Richardson. I'm the department chair for English. I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about what's coming up in the upper school for English. In 9th grade and 10th grade, we have 2 levels. We have the college prep level and the honors level. All the students take the same core course, basically, and they'll be recommended for honors or for college prep by their 8th grade English teacher. So, that they'll help them make that decision. both courses, both college prep and honors, cover the similar literature. They do the same core works of literature. Sorry about that. I just lost my screen. They do the same core works in 9th and 10th grade both. And the difference between the two courses is basically in the pacing and the amount of writing that's done. Both courses at both levels do a lot of writing. We're very much focused on writing, particularly critical writing and analytical writing, as well as, doing research and being able to cite research correctly. The courses in 9th and 10th grade also are organized historically. We cover a lot of time, several centuries, in both grade levels, and they're organized thematically as well. So we go from the Renaissance to World War II, just various, works of literature through the ages, organized thematically. When students get to 11th grade, they take American literature. And again, we cover a very long time span, several centuries of American literature, starting with Native American literature and moving on to, early colonial literature, slave narratives, et cetera, all the way up through the modern period. In 11th grade, students also have the option of taking AP literature and composition. So they need an A in honors in order to move into AP literature generally, as well as a recommendation from their teacher. And then in 12th grade, we do things a little bit differently. We have, the students have choices. They can choose different focused courses to take. They can, right now, the three that we're offering are Shakespeare, so all Shakespeare all the time. Gothic literature, which is exactly that. Gothic literature, again, covering quite a long time span from, early Gothic literature all the way up to modern day. And contemporary world literature. So obviously that's all more modern and recent stuff. All of those courses are offered at both the CP and the honors level for students. And then in 12th grade, they also at the AP level can take AP language and composition, which differs from AP literature in that it's focused on nonfiction rather than on fiction and poetry. So those are the core courses. And then in terms of electives, we have quite a few available. And you can see over on the right-hand side of the slide there. In 9th and 10th grade, they have journalism and creative writing, both of which are very popular courses. A lot of students really enjoy the creative writing. We don't do as much creative writing in our core courses, so that's something fun for them. And journalism is taught by Mr. Smith, who worked for many, many years as a journalist, and they produce a really, really good product, the school newspaper. And he teaches them all the fundamentals of journalistic work, and that's a very, very, in my opinion, important job right now in this country. Let's see, they also in 10th grade, so those two are available to 9th graders, and then in 10th grade, they also open up a little bit more philosophy, fantasy and science fiction, madness in literature, again, a thematic class. And students can also be recommended, or if they're recommended, choose to work as writing center tutors, which is kind of a new thing that we just started last year and we're trying to get up and running. And it's going pretty well, a little weird this year in the Zoom environment, but we're working on it. There's one full credit, those are all half credit courses, so all the electives are half credits. The one full credit course being offered next year is Apocalypse Literature, and that's a full credit course. So, and that's only in 11th and 12th grade that is offered. And the electives change sometimes from year to year, depending on who's available and who wants to teach what. But these courses have all been offered for at least 2 or 3 years, and many of them for 6-7 years. So, and I think that just about covers it. I don't know. We're going to wait on questions.
Yeah,
I don't know if there are questions in the chat.
Yeah, Ms. Richardson, thank you. We can wait on questions. There may be some in the Q&A file that you could type away.
Okay, I'll take a look.
Yeah, but at the end we can definitely take a look at everything and see if we have time. So next up, if my slide works here, we have Dr. Scott Dre. Take it away, Dr. Dre.
Thank you very much. So, hi, I'm Scott Duray. I'm head of Science and Computer Science Department. So let's get started with science here. In ninth grade, your son or daughter is going to take biology, either in the college prep or the honors level. Now, we run biology in the ninth grade so that we can get the MCAS taken care of. You know, it's one of the graduation requirements, and instead of loading them up in 10th grade where they have English, math, and science, we'll just run science in the ninth grade. So in 10th grade, you move on into chemistry in both CP and honors level, but you also have opened up to you AP biology. Now, it's important to note that our AP classes in the science department do not fulfill the graduation requirements, so they're electives. Then in the 11th grade, we run physics, and then AP biology and AP chemistry are open to the 11th graders. Now in 12th grade, we don't have a mandatory science class, but we have also AP Bio, AP Chem, and AP Physics open. Now, we really typically run about 15 to 20 kids in AP Physics, and they have to be seniors in order to take that class because they have to get through honors physics in 11th grade. Now, as part of our science department, we have some electives, and then we have an interesting program I'd like to talk to you about. But our electives, we typically run our anatomy and physiology, and that is taught by Mr. J, who is a registered nurse. And then we have environmental sustainability taught by Mr. Brandis. We sometimes run Discovering New England. It depends on the middle school teaching load, but I believe we are running it this year. Now, we also, starting in the 10th grade, have a research program that we've started several years back. Now, the research program is modeled after a graduate school science research program, where the students are immersed in a very, very rigorous program where they're having to do research either in biochemistry, ecology, geochemistry, or we were running a microscopy course too. It's kind of hard to do that when you're remote. But currently we have biochemistry, ecology, and geochemistry running, and the students are reading journal articles. When we get back to AMSA, they'll be in the lab doing actual experiments and leading a project when they get further on in their 11th or 12th grade years. So can we go to computer science, Mr. Naraki? Okay, now computer science. 9th grade, you have a couple options. You have Intro to Java and Intro to Web. And I'm going to say it right now. We run Java specifically because College Board AP class is a Java-based course. That's why we run Java. We also have Intro to CAD starting in 10th grade. In 10th grade, we also have Advanced Web Design and AP Computer Science. Now, if your son or daughter is even remotely interested in programming, I highly recommend AP Computer Science. Ms. Bandaru does a fantastic job of preparing those students for that test. And it is really a gateway for, I think, some of the better courses we offer at AMSA, which is our cybersecurity and data science. Now, in 11th and 12th grade, it's pretty wide open. We have Advanced CAD, Advanced Web Design, AP Computer Science, Digital Media, Cybersecurity, Robotics, Data Science, Cybersecurity. I want to say something about this field. The computer science field changes so rapidly that this is our current offerings. Now, we started a couple of years back with data science. Now, data science has quickly evolved into data science / artificial intelligence. I mean, they go hand in hand. So we are constantly tweaking and changing our courses. I mean, you can obviously see that cybersecurity is one of those courses that is probably changing on a monthly basis. So that in and of itself is all the courses that we run, but there's one more we also offer, which isn't on the slide, a science research or computer science research, where students are going to dive into very specific content that is literally on the cutting edge of computer science. And then they'll be presenting that topic at our research night in April. So that's it for me.
All right, Dr. Jure, thank you very much. If anybody has questions for Dr. Jure, they can submit to the Q&A section. I'm sure he'll try and type away at those. And like I said, at the end, if we have time, we should have some time to answer some questions verbally as well. Next up is none other than Dr. Anders Lewis, our history department chair. Dr. Lewis, are you there?
Sorry, I was on mute. I do that in class all the time, and the kids are like, "Hey, greetings, hello, good evening, everybody." There you see the slide for the offerings for history classes for high school, so I will just run through those. We have an absolutely fantastic math, science, and English department and foreign language department. We have a great history department too, with very enthusiastic history teachers who are very intent upon teaching a rich content with tons and tons of passion. So right now in grade 8, your students are completing they're completing their 3rd year of chronological history. In 6th, they begin with ancient history and the first civilizations. And then in 7, they go through the Middle Ages. And then in 8th grade right now, they are going through the early modern period. They are probably somewhere, if you ask your kids, they're probably somewhere within the European Enlightenment right about now with their fantastic teacher, Miss Cook. So then when they arrive next year in grade 9, they're going to finish up their 4th year of world history. So they'll have world history right before the French Revolution in 1750. And that course next year will go all the way up to the present time. So it'll go through the French Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, imperialism, World War I, World War II, the Cold War, and then the modern period as well. And then in the next 2 grades, after grade 9, students have 2 years of U.S. history. And those 2 years are split roughly in half. So in 10th grade, your students will take American history in 1490, the year right before Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue and crossed the Atlantic Ocean. And then that course goes all the way up to 1877, the end of the era of Reconstruction. That's the end of grade 10. And then in grade 11, they'll pick up the story of American history right after the end of Reconstruction and continue it through the Industrial Revolution, World War I, 1920s, World War II, the Cold War, and into the modern period. So those are the core classes that students take at AMSA for history, world history, and U.S. history 1 and 2. Then you can see there in the 4th column over the advanced placement offerings that we have in the history department. We have AP European history, AP macroeconomics, AP U.S. history, AP U.S. government, and AP psychology. Those are all terrific, very, very challenging college-level classes. We certainly encourage everybody to consider taking an AP class. A good question to ask when you're considering taking an AP class is, do I really like the subject? Do I really want to drill down on this particular subject and work really hard at it? Some really excellent AP offerings there. And then in that final column on the right side, those are all the electives. Excuse me, those are all the electives that we're going to be offering this coming year. Government and economics that class is usually reserved for 11th and 12th graders. It is generally an introductory level elective on government and economics that we always run. It's intended to help students become economically literate and to become better citizens and knowledgeable about the ways of the Constitution and how our political system works. All those other electives there, anthropology, American culture through film, history of sports, milestones of Asian history, all awesome, exciting electives that are new for this year and that we're all really, really excited to teach. Those are all open for 9th graders. So you can certainly consider those. Anthropology is focused on what it means to be human, what a culture is all about. The American culture through film class is going to look at key eras of American history, the Revolution, the Civil War, World War II, the Civil Rights Movement. It's going to look through those key eras of American history through great important films. So that will be a very interesting class as well. History of sports is going to take a worldwide and historical view of sports and see how sports is important to many different cultures around the world. And then the last class there, Milestones of Asian History. That is a modern Asian history class, and it is going to be focused on key turning points in Asian history related to several countries, including China. So that class is going to look at the rise of the communist movement in China. It's going to look at North and South Korea, what led to the division of North and South Korea and why those countries are so different today. It is also going to look at the rise of modern Japan and modern Vietnam as well. So it will be a very interesting class. So thank you all for coming. If you don't have a question answered tonight and you have other questions about history classes or the history department, please reach out. I'm happy to respond via email. I'm happy to meet you via Zoom too. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lewis. Next up, we have Miss Preston.
Okay. Thank you so much. Oh, let me, hold on. I've got to get my self. There we go. Sorry, I had to get my video back. So thank you everyone for joining us. I wish that I could see you all. It's a bit surreal, but I'm grateful to be part of this webinar. Again, I'm Sarah Preston and I'm the Department Chair for World Languages and Art. So first I'll walk you through languages and then we'll get into art. As you probably know, in middle school, students take Latin, grades 6 through 8. And then, so your son or daughter at the end of this year will have the opportunity to decide if they want to continue on with Latin. And in that case, they would be taking Latin 2. Or students can begin to take French or Spanish level 1 in the 9th grade. And we have CP and honors offered for all 3 languages. And also all 3 languages go up to AP. One other thing to note is that students can also take a placement exam if they have prior knowledge in a language. For example, if they're coming in from another school where they perhaps took a language, or maybe if they speak that language at home, they can do a placement test to determine what the best level would be to take beginning in 9th grade. So if that's the case, you can just reach out to me regarding that and I can set up a placement test. So similar sequences for French and Spanish. Again, students would begin at level 1, and then in grade 10 is where the CP and the honors would begin, and the difference being mainly that the honors would just delve a little bit more deeply into the topics, do a little bit more writing, but the same general content and themes would be covered in both CP and honors. So then, moving up to level 3, junior year, and senior year, students would be able to choose between level 4 or AP. And I should note that the French 4 and Spanish 4, those are really film and culture classes. Really interesting courses that look at, you study the historical and cultural context of a region prior to watching a movie in the target language, and then you analyze and discuss that movie afterwards in the target language. Really interesting class taught by Mr. Clarkson. And students actually have the ability of taking that at the same time as AP. And in that case, it would go on their transcript as French film and culture or Spanish film and culture. So that's a nice way of allowing students to be able to take 2 world language courses at the same time. So if students were to do Latin, they would be able to go all the way up through their senior year to Latin 5 or AP Latin. And we have a really strong Latin program. Our middle school teachers, Mr. Oglesby and Mr. Fuller, do a phenomenal job, as does Mr. Bacala at our high school level. And he's the AP Latin teacher. And we have I would say that most people who take Latin their 9th grade year do go on to continue on with Latin their senior year. So although students are only required to take 2 years of world languages, it is generally colleges, many colleges like to see at least 3 years of a world language. And so most of our students take at least 3 years. And we have also a very large number of students that also take 4 years of world languages. So I will move on to art, and then afterwards I can see if there are any questions. So all of these art courses are half credits with the exception of AP Studio Art, which is a full credit. And we have a number of art courses. A few of these are offered every other year, which is a nice way of being able to offer a number of different courses and have some variety. So the courses that we have that typically we offer every year are 3D art, which is a really popular course. Chorus, which Mrs. Bowen does a phenomenal job with. Choice-based art is a class that we started this year, and it's been great. And we will offer that one again next year. Drawing and painting we offer every year. The courses that are every other year would be multicultural art, myth and art, and printmaking. Printmaking we've had to hold off on a little bit while we're remote. It's a harder course to do. Western Art Masterpieces is a really terrific art history course that typically Ms. Kloutman teaches, and that's a great course for students to take if they're particularly if they're planning on going on to AP art. It's a great course for building their foundation along with the drawing and painting. Digital animation is another fantastic course taught by Mr. Morgan. And then last, before mentioning the AP Studio Art, yearbook is an elective, but it will not fulfill the fine arts requirement. AP Studio Art, again, is the one course that is a full credit. Ms. Makinen does that, and she does a phenomenal job preparing the students. It is a very rigorous class, and I am always just blown away by the work that the students produce in AP Art. It's really, really quite something. So I think that I'm conscious of the time, so I think that wraps it up. I would just like to say too that if anyone at any point has any questions, whether it's tonight or beyond, please always feel free to reach out to me, send me an email, and I'd be happy to help you out. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Preston, thank you very much. And we have Miss Kate Drivers up next. So I think you have 2 slides, Kate. So take it away.
I think I have 2 slides, yes. So a little bit about the course selection process. The 8th grade counselors will be meeting with students tomorrow to go over the general course selection process and their options for next year. We'll walk them through how to use PLUS portals to do the course selection. So they will leave the meeting tomorrow knowing everything that, how the logistics work of the sign up process. They'll register online through PLUS portals. I don't know why that's a tongue twister for me today, but it is. Starting on the 10th of February, and they will have until the 25th of February. No need to worry about writing this down. We have an email about registration that's going to go out beginning of next week. So you'll have all these dates in an email. Counselors will have some open Q&A sessions for students to drop in on Zoom. We're setting up the days and times and links for those now, so they'll have that information. And teachers will be entering recommendations for courses in math, English, biology, and history. So when students log into their form, they will be able to see the courses that their current teachers are recommending that they take in 9th grade. So that's important. Next slide. We ask that students, again, take a minimum of 7 credits to be considered full-time. We recommend 7.5 credits as a 9th grader and probably a 10th grader as well. We also strongly recommend that students take either an art or a chorus class in addition to the computer science class that they're going to take in 9th grade, so that they begin working on meeting both their computer science and their art requirement. If students sign up for 7 credits, that means they will have a study hall every day. And if they sign up for 7.5 credits, it means they'll have a study hall every other day. Now, when I'm talking about every day versus every other day, I'm talking about our regular 8-day rotation schedule, not our remote schedule. So that lines up a little bit differently in our current system, but fingers crossed that we'll all be back in person in a much more normal way next year. So 7 credits would be a study hall daily, 7.5 every other day. And that's typically what freshmen take. Awesome. Next up.
I believe next. Oh,
yeah, so here's an example, and I think this actually illustrates one of the questions that I saw come up that I think someone else answered. So this is what a typical 9th grade schedule could look like. So a credit in English, a credit and a half in Algebra 2, Geometry, World History, Bio, French, half a credit in PE, half a credit in Computer Science, half a credit in Art, for a total of 7.5 credits. So this person would also have a study hall on their schedule. A couple of things to consider in the course selection process. Definitely think about the prerequisites, and I mean that in terms of planning backward from where students would like to be. So as Dr. Jory mentioned, if you are interested in taking AP Computer Science as a sophomore or a junior, taking Intro to Java as a 9th grader is the best way to set yourself up to be eligible for that class. So looking at the prerequisites of the courses that you're hoping to take eventually and beginning to meet those requirements in 9th grade is really important. We also think looking at time and stress management is very, very, very important. And we have published homework estimates in the program of studies. And then we have included, and we will be including in the email that you'll get next week, a time management form where students can put in information about the classes that they're taking, the estimated homework per week, other activities they take part in, and try to really look at what's the big picture of the time that they have and how do they want to spend it. We want them to be making smart choices. As I think Dr. Lewis had said, one of the most important things in picking AP classes, and I would say this is true for honors classes as well, is where do your interests lie? How much time do you want to be spending in homework in a particular subject? Do you like that subject? That's really important, and I think makes high school a lot more enjoyable. We also think involvement in extracurriculars in the high school level is really important. It's not necessary to have a resume that is a mile wide and an inch deep. We'd rather see students going into a few different areas that they're truly interested in more depth. I think that makes for a much more powerful high school experience. But it's also a good time to explore and figure out what you like. And so a great way to do that is being involved in clubs and activities. Lastly, ninth grade does count in terms of transcript and GPA. And I don't say that to make anyone feel nervous. But the reality is that middle school grades, they don't really go anywhere. They go to you, they go to us, but there's really no one external that's viewing grades of a middle school student. But we do begin to look at grades being reported to eventually to colleges on a transcript, also calculating a grade point average based on the grades and the level of classes that students are taking. So again, I don't say this to make anyone nervous, but I don't want it to be a surprise. Sometimes I have students who reflect that they wish they'd really thought more about ninth grade counting. And for those students, it's okay. We know that there are many colleges that look to see an upward trajectory. And so even if a student may have a rocky start in ninth grade, as long as they continue to improve, there's still going to be plenty of options for them in the post-secondary space. Next up.
All right, Kate, thank you very much. I believe we are about to, there's still more slides for you.
I'll be very quick on this. So we do a lot of college and career preparation in a lot of different ways. We have some programming that we do for ninth graders and 10th graders, and then we do a lot of work with our 11th and 12th graders. We have a very robust seminar program. We offer some information for parents, and we also have a lot of colleges that come and visit AMSA. That happened virtually this year, and I think that will probably continue. So great options to begin thinking about college and career.
Okay, now I think you're complete, Ms. Driver. Yes, we are switching gears over to AMSA athletics. So thank you to all the department chairs for running through all that. We're switching gears a little bit. Our athletic department has blossomed over the last couple of years. We have a very competitive athletic program. So Mr. Jones, take it away. Tell them about it.
Thank you, Mr. Naraki, and thank you all for being here tonight. This presentation was kind of like a microcosm of a school day. We bumped into the principal, we went to all our classes, we checked in with the guidance counselors. Now we're going to head over to Four Kicks and do some sports. So just a little bit of an overview regarding AMSA athletics. We are an MIAA member school, and we're a member of the Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association, just like your regular public schools in the area, Algonquin, Marlborough, Assabet. We are a member of the MIAA. We are also a proud member of the Colonial Athletic League. That is our league here in Central Mass District 2. That league is comprised of all the tech schools in Central Mass, as well as a few charter schools like ourselves. Our Eagle Athletic Department is comprised of 37 different teams spread throughout 23 varsity programs. So your students can compete in our varsity, junior varsity, freshman, and middle school offerings. Students in grades 6 through 12 are eligible. Next slide, Mr. Naraki. So just a little bit about our offerings each season. I'll take it season by season. And this is all, the next three slides are all a typical year, not during a pandemic. So this year, 2020, 2021 was very different due to the pandemic, obviously. So what I'm going to outline next is a typical year, global pandemic aside. So our fall season typically begins the Monday before Labor Day. We actually start fall sports before the school year starts. Before the first day of classes. So we go to the second Monday preceding Labor Day, and the sports conclude in about mid-November. Our football program, which is a co-op at Maynard, will end on Thanksgiving Day, and hopefully beyond. If they're a playoff team, as they have been in the past, they will go past Thanksgiving. So our fall offerings include boys and girls varsity and JV soccer, boys and girls varsity and middle school cross country, varsity, JV, and freshman girls volleyball. We have a varsity co-ed golf team. And in terms of field hockey and football, we don't have programs of our own, but our girls that play field hockey are involved in the cooperative program at Assabet. And as I mentioned, our football players play over at Maynard High School. So next up is the winter. The winter sports begin the Monday after Thanksgiving and run through mid-March. State Championship Saturday is usually the third Saturday in March. Our winter offerings include boys and girls varsity and JV basketball. We also do run a middle school boys basketball team. We have varsity indoor track for boys and girls. We have varsity boys and girls swimming. And in terms of hockey, again, we don't have programs of our own, but our girls are in their first year this winter in a co-op at Algonquin Regional. The co-op's actually comprised of Algonquin, Hudson, Marlboro, Neshoba, Clinton, and now AMSA. And our boys play over at Marlboro High School. It's a Marlboro High and AMSA co-op. And that takes us to the spring, which we sadly missed last year due to the pandemic. I can't wait to see these teams again this year. The spring sports begin the third Monday in March, and they go until mid-June, third week of June. We offer varsity and JV softball, varsity and JV baseball, varsity and JV boys, and varsity and JV girls lacrosse. We have our own girls tennis team. Our boys are involved in the Marlboro High tennis program. We have a Marlboro AMSA boys co-op, but we do have our own girls tennis team. And we have boys and girls varsity and middle school outdoor track and field. So I think that's it for athletics. I will turn it back over to Mr. Naraki. Thank you guys for your time.
Something I believe just popped up on the Q&A.
The question is, are teacher recommendations on the PLUS portal so that parents can see? I don't believe so. I think it's only through the students' access. When they log in, there's a little tab that's going to show up that says course registration, and they can click there. So I would recommend talking about it with your student and looking through with them. But all the directions will go out for where to see that in PLUS portals. And then if a student has 8 credits, do they get a study hall? No. 8 credits is a full schedule, no study hall. Great questions.
Another one just popped
The deadline for course recommendations is the 25th, or pardon me.
Yes, that's correct. So
No, the course recommendations will be available on the 10th. The course registrations that students are going to complete, those need to be in by the 25th.
Yes, I'm glad that was asked. So on February 10th, at some point in the evening on February 10th, early evening, I believe, we will open up the course request process for the students. So the 10th, which is a Wednesday next week, it will open up for students, and they have about 15 days to get their course requests in. And we'll have much more information. When we open up, we'll have Miss Driver actually usually puts together a nice little notification and with some information and resources for everyone on the course request process.
There's one more question here about students knowing if their course selections are approved. We ask them to sign up for what they've been recommended for, because a lot of the honors courses, you need the teacher recommendation to get into that class, if that makes any sense. So typically, as long as the students' selections match the recommendations they've received, we will work for them to get those courses. So hopefully that helps answer that question. Our electives first come, first served. It's not about like, well, I got my form in first, so I get a spot. We look at, typically priority goes to seniors first in some of the classes that are harder to get. We also look at who needs the credit to graduate, and we make that a priority. And then it sort of filters down. But we have a lot of space in a lot of our electives. So it's not so much about space typically. Sometimes it's about, do they fit in the schedule and do they conflict with other things that students have signed up for? That's what we find. And we have a cap of 26 students in a class.
Yes, the cap is 26 students per class. In phys ed, the cap is actually 30 students. And chorus, I believe, has a cap of 40 students, Ms. Driver?
I believe so.
Yeah.
There's also a question in the chat about art classes. So most of the art classes, I think with the exception of AP Art, are open to 9th graders. So lots and lots of choices there. Yep, and if you have any questions about what's open to which students, please go to the Program of Studies. It's on the website, and there's information about what classes are open to what grades, are there prerequisites, how do do you need a recommendation for the course, all that information. So super helpful. It's really well done. We've worked really hard over the last few years to try to get all that information in their standard, along with the homework hour estimates. So please take advantage of that resource and encourage your students to do the same.
Okay, I think we are ready to end the night. Thanks to our department chairs and to our athletic director for taking the time tonight. Ms. Driver, thank you. all the students and families that came out tonight. We really appreciate your time. And again, if you have any lingering questions, just feel free to email that individual person, and we will get back to you soon. So thank you all. Have a good night.